Hey, it's Michael, and I'm making a YouTube video for the first time in a very, very long time. I think it's been maybe close to 2 months now. Quick update on me: I've been pretty much working full time as a closer on my contract. It's more of like a B2B contract. I'm learning a lot of new things. I invested in a mentorship for a decent amount of money, but I want to make this quick video just talking about what I learned spending 1 week in the woods, and I just got back from that trip today. I was a couple hours outside of Toronto. I was there kind of with my family, and there's a couple of things that I learned just about like working, remotely there. I'm usually kind of hybrid in terms of my schedule. There's a lot of things I realized just about my own productivity and the way my mind works and the way I feel, like what makes me feel great and what does make me feel too great. Um, and I want to share those with you kind of, during this video here. Number one is right now, like me making this video, me coming back today, me, driving home for 3.5 hours, my mind was extremely clear. And I think one of the biggest struggles that I used to have, living in the city and always being on social media and Instagram, and it's something I'm going to touch on here in a second. But my mind would oftentimes be either foggy or it wouldn't be too clear, and there'd be a lot in my mind, and there'd be so many things kind of moving around, and I never had like a lot of mental clarity. It wasn't, step by step or very coherent or congruent. I think about so many things, randomly they'd come and go, and it'd be very distracting. But after this week, really spending a lot more time in nature, a lot less time on, any devices on the internet, on social media, anything like that, I feel a lot more mentally clear. And the way that shows up is like I feel very, very conscious. I feel very, very aware. I think a thought or I feel a feeling and I kind of think about why I'm feeling it. It's really, really nice. It's kind of like if you've ever done meditation in the past, you'll know that after you have a really good meditation, for a couple hours after that, let's say you're driving and somebody cuts you off and you get like really angry quickly. Um, if you had a good meditation, you'll be aware of that and you'll usually really quickly stop yourself from being angry. And it's a really good way to start to correct yourself and to change your character, to change your patterns, your habits. And in the same way, after this whole week, I mean, till this moment, the last couple of days, including now, I feel very mentally clear. I think one of the biggest reasons that happened was well, there's kind of two. One, I spent a lot of time in nature, fresh air, campfire, eating good food, from steaks to burgers to like, some real good quality sausages and salads and whatnot. And then the other side of that, so like nature and just being in, my most natural habitat environment, which all of us need, getting sunlight, wind, all of it, seeing the stars for the first time in a very long time, like all the stars. And the second part was just being off of social media. And, I think that the sub kind of premise of this video and the one thing I really want you to take away out of everything I talk about is like not necessarily you have to take a week to like go out and get an Airbnb in the woods, but I took I kind of took myself off of social media about 3 weeks ago, close to 4 weeks ago. And when I say social media, I mean really TikTok and Instagram. I don't use the other ones too much. I use Snapchat sometimes to just, snap my girl. She's literally the only person I have on Snapchat. Um, Besides that, I don't use any other social media. YouTube, like I would watch some videos, but I also really reduced that. And one of the biggest reasons I did that at the start was like I didn't want distractions. I wanted all my extra time to just be focused towards sales, so watching call reviews, taking calls, just relaxing if I had to, not just wasting my time like filling it with garbage, right? And that's oftentimes what you get when you watch TikToks and reels and all this stuff. So 3 weeks ago, I kind of stopped being on social media, but I think I really started to feel the effects much more now. Because during this trip, I was doing a bit of hybrid work, and I pretty much like after waking up in the morning, taking a couple calls, I took a reduced number of calls because my environment and my setup wasn't too great for sales calls specifically. It wasn't like this, here I've got my whole setup, my kind of office, if you will. I didn't have that, but I was really off of social media. All I had was a bit of YouTube, and there's a lot of comparison that is gone. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of frustration that's gone. I mean, just overall, I feel so calm. I feel so relaxed. And one really, really big thing about being in sales, if anyone's watching this and you're in high tier closing and you're actively, working on an offer, you'll know what I'm talking about. Comparison's tough. If I'm gonna come out and like be totally transparent, I was one of the bottom performers on my team last month, and I actually did pretty decent. Like I didn't make one or two or 4 grand. I mean, I did 6.6 to be totally transparent USD last month, but there was, and I unfortunately had a refund come in. It was supposed to be a little higher. That's besides the point. The point is, there's so many other people on my team who did so much better, and like usually I'll have felt bad about that because I see people on Instagram and TikTok also, JP Egan, this guy's making like 80K a month. You see other guys, making 40, 50, 60K a month, and then you're there and you made like six, or like you made maybe 10. Um, but I didn't have 80% of that. Sure, I mean, I looked at my team and they're doing better, but this is still my team. Like, these are people who I work with. These are people who I, like, honestly, although I have a competitive nature, I don't have this kind of envy for. I don't have this kind of feeling that I should be where they're at. I mean, almost everyone's older. Like, there's nobody else on the team besides one guy who is pretty much my age. And he's been at the company for like 7, 8 months. It's not an excuse for why I'm not there. It's just a point that, like, besides that, everyone else is like late 20s to 30s, 40s. Or I don't know about 40s, but definitely 30s. So for that reason, I mean, I don't feel that envy. I feel like it's my sales team, they're helping me get better. We do our meetings, etc. But I didn't have all that external stuff. The guys posting their highlights on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, because that's even what I was guilty of. I was guilty of, last month I had a day where I made a couple of grand in a day and I posted on my Instagram. It's like, yeah, like hustling, got to double down, put my head down, work harder. It's like cool, and I'm not remorseful that I did that, but it's more like it's a highlight, and highlights are great. Don't like I'm one of the I might be one of the cockiest people you'd ever be. I'm very confident. I have a bit of an ego sometimes, but there's something very negative about only seeing highlights from people, including yourself, only showing people highlights and really kind of making yourself seem grander than you are. I spoke with a good friend who's also a closer recently. He said the way he's been using Instagram and social media as a closer, as a salesperson, has been to really network and to meet other people. I think that's a really, really good way to use it, to be honest. But besides that, I think for anybody who's struggling with comparison, a bit of anxiety, with stress when it comes to sales, all these like really common things I think salespeople deal with and they don't even think about. One of the best things you can do, I think, is definitely get out in the woods, get some fresh air, see the stars, smell some trees, burn some wood. But even more importantly, just get off social media. It's not as addicting as you guys think. Like for me, maybe I just grew up one day and things changed. I don't know what happened, but I have no desire to scroll anymore. I don't really have a desire to go through stories or any of that stuff. It's just like I'll watch a YouTube video here and there. Sometimes it's more of like a entertainment rather than sales, but like in general, I think everyone is super super capable of it. And I know it's a super like random topic to talk about as like a kind of reintroduction to my YouTube channel, and I don't know if I'm going to be posting too much the rest of this year. Still very focused on sales, but it's something I wanted to share just because I think it's so 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 important. Um, and that's pretty much it. That's where I've been at. So I've been up to. I'm definitely gonna make some posts. I'll be in Miami and then Austin later on this month. So I'll definitely document some of that. Otherwise, all of you guys, thanks so much for watching. Feel free to like and comment if you have anything to say, or if you enjoyed the video. Dislike if you felt like I wasted your time, and subscribe for more of these in the future. Take it easy.